The story begins thousands of years in the future, after a catastrophic conflict known as the 60-Minute War, in which humanity nearly destroyed the Earth. The survivors came together to build new cities that could move from one place to another on giant tires. However, it wasn't long before larger cities began preying on smaller towns and villages, defeating their inhabitants and enslaving them. But in Asia, a group of cities formed an alliance and built a protective barrier around their territory called the Shield Wall to prevent other cities from attacking them. One day, we meet a girl named Hester, who learns that the city of London is coming to attack the village of Salthook. Hester's sole purpose in life was to kill London's head historian, Thaddeus Valentine. To achieve this, Hester blended in with the people of Salthook so that when London conquered them and took them prisoner, she would be brought to London along with them. Suddenly, an alarm blared, and Salthook began to move to escape London's attack, causing chaos among the people inside. On the other side, the people of London were ecstatic to see this hunt. Salthook strained with all its might, but London was much faster and more powerful. Salthook's drivers then dumped all their grain onto the ground to reduce weight and flee faster. They were now speeding towards a chasm. They were about to fall in when they changed direction at the last moment. However, due to the sudden turn, some of their parts and a tire broke off. During this time, London tightened its grip on them. They were pulled in by ropes, and the entire village was absorbed into the city of London. When the people of Salthook arrived inside, they were ordered to hand over all their electronic devices to the guards. Meanwhile, we see Thaddeus Valentine in a museum, where old electronic devices like smartphones and toasters were displayed as artifacts. His daughter, Catherine Valentine, was waiting there for the historian Tom, who, as usual, was late. He rushed through the crowd to reach the museum and then helped Catherine find information about the 60-Minute War. Tom showed her a machine he had built by piecing together old parts. He played a video on it showing how an entire city was destroyed by an attack from a nuclear bomb called Medusa. To stop this nuclear weapon, the ancient humans had created a crash drive. Recently, Tom noticed that some of its parts were missing, but when he told his boss, they paid no attention to him. Tom then took Catherine to a secret cabinet that only opened with a password, where he had stored parts of ancient weapons. He didn't know that another historian, Herbert, was secretly watching. Tom then said he wanted to destroy all these weapons so that no one could misuse them in the future to kill innocent people. As soon as Tom and Catherine left, Herbert announced that Tom was no longer a historian and would have to do sanitation work on the lower levels. Herbert knew that there would be a huge crowd outside, and Tom wouldn't be able to reach his new post on time, giving him an excuse to fire him. But Catherine told Tom she could get him there quickly. Catherine used her VIP pass to take him on a special elevator. During this time, Tom said he absolutely had to get to the lower levels to retrieve the devices collected from the new prisoners and take them to the museum. If he didn't get there in time, the workers would throw them into the trash and they would be incinerated. Down on the lower levels, the prisoners from Salthook were being searched and their weapons confiscated. Hester got through easily because she had hidden her knife in her clothes. Meanwhile, Tom quickly reached the waste chute and began collecting old devices. Just then, Thaddeus Valentine arrived. A worker had found a fusion inverter cell from a Salthook prisoner, which he gave to Thaddeus. The worker told him that the engineers had stolen all the cells from the museum, so Thaddeus said he would deal with them. Nearby, a man from Salthook pushed a guard, starting a brawl between prisoners and guards. It was then that Thaddeus noticed Hester. She lunged at Thaddeus with a knife. Hester had a deep scar on her face, the same scar that was on a sketch in Thaddeus's office. Hester attacked again, trying to finish him off, but Tom grabbed her and threw her knife away. Hester, enraged, began to beat him, and at that moment, alarms blared, meaning officers were on their way. Hester immediately fled, with Tom in pursuit. She jumped from a broken bridge to the other side, and Tom jumped after her. They were now in the remains of Salthook Village, which was being dismantled by massive machines. They had to carefully navigate past the heavy machinery to escape. At the same time, buildings were collapsing one after another, so they had to get out quickly to save their lives. They were jumping from one place to another, but now a machine was rapidly advancing towards them, incinerating everything in its path. At that moment, Hester quickly opened a door, slipped inside, and shut it. Tom, with all his strength, forced the door open and once again started chasing Hester. During this, Hester saw Thaddeus coming from the front and immediately turned back. To avoid capture, she jumped into the waste chute, but suddenly, Tom grabbed her hand and saved her. Hester told Tom to ask Thaddeus about her mother, Pandora, and then pulled her hand free and jumped into the chute. A few moments later, Thaddeus arrived and pushed Tom into the chute as well. Soon, Catherine and other guards arrived, but Thaddeus lied, saying Tom's mom and Hester fell because the railing broke. At that moment, Catherine's eyes fell on a man named Beavis, who had been hiding there. The waste from the chute was dumped outside the city, so it was obvious that Tom and Hester would have fallen there. Airplanes were sent to find them, but their mission was unsuccessful. In reality, Hester was hiding in the tracks left by the moving city and had hidden Tom under some leaves. When the airplanes left, she stole Tom's money and knife. Just then, Tom regained consciousness and started following Hester. Hester, in anger, threatened him with the knife, but Tom didn't stop, saying that it was in their best interest to work together. Meanwhile, in London, Mayor Crome scolded Thaddeus because he was failing to achieve his objective. Thaddeus explained that he was short on old electronic devices, which is why his work would take several more weeks. Tom then gave him the fusion cell he had gotten from the Salt Hook prisoners. A scientist then told him that a creature, half zombie and half robot, had been captured in a prison by the sea. It was a dangerous stalker that constantly shouted Hester's name. Thaddeus immediately boarded his airship and headed towards the sea, where a creature named Shrike was imprisoned in a jail suspended over the water. Shrike was looking for Hester because she had broken a promise, and now Shrike wanted to kill her. Thaddeus wanted Hester found, so he attacked the prison's chains with his airship, causing the jail to fall and freeing Shrike. Elsewhere, Catherine found Beavis and asked him what really happened with Hester and Tom. Beavis revealed that Thaddeus had deliberately pushed Tom. Beavis said that no energy project was underway in the cathedral. Rather, it was a cover for a major conspiracy. But he couldn't uncover the truth himself because the cathedral guards wouldn't let him inside. Catherine then decided to help him. Meanwhile, Hester and Tom were moving forward. Hester taught him how to drink dirty water to survive. Then she shared her food with Tom, but Tom was quite scared because the food was 1,000 years old. Hester explained that food made with old technology never spoils. At night, while Hester was sleeping, she had a nightmare in which she was running through a field, blood streaming from the deep wound on her face. When Hester woke up, she saw Tom waving his arms to signal two approaching towns, hoping for shelter. Unfortunately, they turned out to be attackers who tried to capture them both with grappling hooks. At that moment, Tom pushed Hester to save her, and they both ran at full speed. Tom was having trouble climbing, so Hester pulled him up. But as soon as Tom got to the top, Hester had vanished. The two towns were about to attack them when he slipped and suddenly fell into a tunnel. In reality, both Hester and Tom had fallen into a tunnel and ended up in an underground city called Scuttlebug. A few moments later, this city also started moving. At first, the driver and his wife treated them very well, but soon they imprisoned Hester and Tom in a cell. While sitting there, Hester told Tom that when she was 8 years old, her mother, Pandora, died. Her mother was an archaeologist who traveled the world trying to find more information about history. Thaddeus used to visit her, but one day they found something in the ground that was extremely dangerous. When Pandora found out that Thaddeus wanted to use this object to fulfill his evil ambitions, Pandora snatched the box, and a fight broke out between them. In the scuffle, the box was damaged, and the whole house caught fire. Pandora gave Hester a necklace and told her to always keep it safe. But then, Thaddeus suddenly stabbed Pandora with a knife. Hester tried to save her mother, but Thaddeus slashed her face with the knife, and blood started pouring from it. Hester fled to save her life, and Thaddeus took the box. After hearing the story, Tom asked for Hester's knife, used it to remove a screw on the floor, and opened a hatch. They could jump from here and save their lives. But Hester's leg was injured, and she couldn't jump that far down. So she told Tom to jump alone. But Tom flatly refused to leave her alone and closed the hatch again. After this, the driver and his wife took them to another town where they were going to be sold as slaves. When the bidding began, Anna, a famous rebel, said she would buy Hester. But the auctioneer knew that there was a huge bounty on Anna's head, so he wanted to capture her. But Anna shot him in the head right then. This caused chaos among the crowd and guards, as Anna was shooting every man who came towards her. Hester then picked up a dead guard's gun and shot Tom's chains, freeing him. After that, they ran away together. Meanwhile, Anna turned her gun into a sword and was now ruthlessly slitting the throats of everyone who attacked her. Moreover, she had a hidden blade in her shoe and was also knocking out her enemies with kicks. Meanwhile, Tom and Hester were running for their lives, but they were surrounded by small, moving towns. They somehow made their way through them to an open area, but Shrike blocked their path. Now they had no choice, so they jumped onto the large tire of a town, then jumped to another tire and reached a platform, but Shrike easily reached them too. Before he could attack Hester, Anna arrived in her airship and fired at Shrike. Hester quickly climbed onto her airship, and Anna started to leave without Tom. But Hester wasn't going to leave him in trouble, so she threw a rope towards Tom, and he started climbing towards the plane. But from behind, Shrike also grabbed the rope and was climbing up. Anna gave Hester a blade and told her to cut the rope, but Hester threw the knife to Tom, who cut the rope, and Shrike fell. When they were a safe distance away, Anna put the plane on autopilot and treated Hester's wounds. Anna said that she knew her mother, Pandora, and had been looking for Hester ever since her death. Anna couldn't understand how Hester had survived all these years alone. Then Tom realized that Shrike had raised her. Hearing this, Hester became furious because her secret was out. But later, she decided to tell her story. After her mother's death, Hester was wandering alone and eventually fainted. That's when she met Shrike, who gave her shelter and also took her necklace. His vehicle had many scary dolls, so Hester figured that Shrike was probably trying to find himself, as she had seen a picture of Shrike in his human form. Anyway, Shrike now wanted Hester to abduct people like him, and Hester had promised him that they would do this work together. But one day, when Hester found out that London was approaching and Thaddeus was on it, she left without a word. Since that day, Shrike has been relentlessly hunting for Hester. A few hours later, Anna's airship arrived at Airhaven, a city built in the sky. Here, all the rebels who hated the government had formed the Anti-Traction League. Anna told them that Pandora had discovered some mysterious truth. Because of this, she had told Anna that if anything happened to her, she had to take care of Hester because only she could stop Thaddeus's plan. While they were talking, Tom told them that Thaddeus was collecting old tech fusion cells. Tom drew a strange symbol, and Hester recognized it immediately. Tom said that the mysterious box contained an extremely powerful quantum energy bomb. Anna said that Thaddeus was undoubtedly planning to use this Medusa weapon to destroy the shield wall. Back in London, Catherine and Herbert, Beavis, went to meet the director of the cathedral, only to find out that the engineers had broken into Tom's secret cabinet and stolen all his old devices. The director showed them a secret wall with thousands of stairs inside. It was obviously going to be a difficult climb, but it would lead them straight inside the cathedral. After some time, they both reached the cathedral via these stairs, and what they saw with their own eyes made the ground slip from under their feet. They saw that Thaddeus had prepared his superweapon using the devices stolen from Tom and Pandora's mysterious box. Its name was Medusa, just as Catherine had seen in Tom's video. At that moment, Mayor Crome, filled with anger, arrived at the cathedral because Thaddeus had steered the city towards the east without his permission. Suddenly, his eyes fell on Medusa, and his anger boiled over because Thaddeus had hidden such a big plan from him. Thaddeus told him to learn something from history and then ordered the engineers to shut down Medusa. But no one paid attention to him. Suddenly, Thaddeus stabbed and killed the mayor. Catherine was hiding nearby and realized the truth about her father. Soon, news reached the rebels in Airhaven that London was heading east. Suddenly, the power went out, and they heard screaming from outside. At that moment, Shrike forced his way into the room. The rebels retaliated, but their attacks had no effect. Then they attacked Shrike with blades, but Shrike was killing their comrades one by one. Suddenly, there was a massive explosion, and the city caught fire. It was about to be completely destroyed in a short time. Soon, everyone was fleeing in airships to save their lives, so Hester and Tom also started looking for a spacecraft. Meanwhile, Anna and the other rebels were fighting Shrike with swords and axes, but despite all their efforts, they couldn't even scratch him. At that moment, Anna struck Shrike's chest with the blade on her shoe, which injured him slightly. Then the rebels threw a bomb at him, which landed right on his leg. The bomb blast created a hole in the ground, and Shrike fell through. But they didn't know that Shrike was hanging onto iron rods just below. Meanwhile, Tom and Hester were about to reach Anna's airship when Shrike appeared in front of them at the last moment. Tom started fighting Shrike himself to save Hester, but Shrike grabbed him by the neck, threw him to the ground, and then stood on his chest. But at that moment, Hester grabbed Shrike's leg and started begging for Tom's life. Seeing her tears, Shrike stepped back in surprise because he realized that Hester loved Tom. Just then, due to his injuries, his system suddenly failed, and he fell to his knees. In the end, Shrike returned Hester's necklace and forgave her for not keeping her promise. Then he deactivated on his own. At that moment, Anna arrived in her airship to save them, and finally they all escaped. A few moments later, the city of Airhaven fell to the ground and was destroyed. The next day, their airship passed through a hole in the shield wall and reached a city called Shan-Guo. This was a city that was now stationary and didn't move around like other cities. The three of them quickly met with Governor Quan and informed him that London was rapidly approaching. Anna said they should attack first, but Tom disagreed because destroying London would also kill the innocent people living there. Quan agreed with him, but what other choice did they have? If there was a war, either London would survive or Shan-Guo. The war drums had been sounded in the city, and everyone united to face London. In the evening, we see that London had come very close to the shield wall. Soon, Thaddeus ordered Medusa to be fired, and from the other side, Anna sent several airships out of the shield wall to counter them. Meanwhile, Hester saw a picture of the Medusa story in the city and was suddenly reminded of her necklace. Finally, she opened her necklace and found the crash drive inside. She immediately told Tom about it. Meanwhile, Medusa, having charged for the first time, unleashed its first powerful energy beam on the shield wall. The blast destroyed hundreds of airships and cannons, and thousands of people lost their lives. The shield wall was also heavily damaged, and a deadly fire broke out. Buildings and debris were falling from all sides, killing even more people. The common people of London were cheering loudly. After one attack, the Medusa weapon needed a few minutes to recharge. Hester and Tom told Anna that they had to go to London themselves to shut down the Medusa weapon with the crash drive. Anna agreed to take them there, and the other rebels decided to provide them with protection from all sides. As they got close to London, Thaddeus ordered them to be fired upon. Anna and her companions swerved their airships and escaped, but they still suffered significant damage from the energy blast. After that, the rebels distracted the enemy with their airships, while Anna secretly moved forward through the darkness. Now London fired a barrage of bullets at her, and the rebels did the same, causing some of London's buildings to collapse and creating a panic in the crowd. Soon, a spotlight found Anna, so a rebel came forward to destroy the light, but he himself became a victim of a deadly attack. After that, the other rebels faced all the attackers so that Anna could safely reach the cathedral. But in doing so, they all came into the sight of London's army, and soon London's army attacked them, and sadly, they all lost their lives. Somehow, Anna got Hester to the cathedral and shot and killed all the guards. Then she handed over the responsibility of the airship to Tom and jumped onto the roof of the cathedral herself. Meanwhile, Thaddeus was about to fire Medusa again when Anna entered and shot at him. But a guard took the bullet in his chest, saving Thaddeus. The system warned them that it was overheating, so all the engineers ran away in fear. Hester also easily got inside. Meanwhile, Anna and Thaddeus began to fight. At first they were evenly matched, but suddenly Anna's eyes fell on Hester, who was installing the crash drive into the computer, and Anna distracted Thaddeus. But taking advantage of this opportunity, Thaddeus stabbed Anna. But by then, Hester had shut down Medusa. Seeing her mission successful, Anna took her last breath. Now Medusa had entered self-destruct mode, which is why the whole cathedral was shaking. Just then, Catherine was standing in front of Thaddeus. Thaddeus's plan had failed, and in anger, he called Catherine a murderer of their people. But Catherine angrily replied that he was the murderer of her mother and Tom. But Thaddeus said that the city's crash was now inevitable. Meanwhile, we see that Thaddeus's men had reached the control room and killed all the drivers. Now the city of London was moving forward uncontrollably, meaning its collision with the shield wall was certain. When Catherine realized this, she herself went to the control room and tried to apply the brakes, but the brakes were broken. She then spoke to Tom, and Tom came up with a new plan. Meanwhile, Thaddeus was about to kill Hester when she had a blurred memory of her mother, Pandora. But taking advantage of this opportunity, Thaddeus pushed her off the cathedral. On the other side, according to the plan, Catherine opened the gates of London, and Tom, flying in the air, directly attacked the engine, causing an explosion. Now, with the engine on fire, the speed of London City slowed down a bit. Meanwhile, Hester landed on Thaddeus's airship, and they both started fighting on its roof. Soon Thaddeus threw Hester onto the tracks of his own airship and began to choke her. But suddenly, Hester pulled out a knife and cut her own father's face. But she didn't kill him and let him go. She was about to fall when Tom, at the last moment, saved her with his airship. After going a short distance, Tom threw Thaddeus from the airship, and Thaddeus was run over by the tracks of London's own wheels and crashed on the ground. Finally, the city of London crashed into the shield wall and came to a halt. A huge hole had been made in the shield wall, so Catherine led the remaining people of London through that hole into Asia. Many guards were present there, but on Governor Kwan's orders, they lowered their weapons. Then Kwan welcomed them with a whole heart and gave them shelter in his city. In Anna's craft, Hester and Tom were overjoyed that their mission was complete. They expressed their love for each other and also promised to travel the world together.
If you want interesting movie recaps, like, share, and subscribe to follow us for more movie recaps.